involved. But, nobody was listening. And consequently, we depend more on ideas generated from outside that has no sympathy for our condition. And therefore, we will all continue to make noise. Hopefully somebody, and if we have people who get involved in very serious way in the political arena among us, then maybe a few years, bid their time, get into positions where they can influence policy, probably things will begin to change. Otherwise, I don't know.
We need divine intervention. We have I know divine people.
Yeah, that's good. Dr. Bawji, good evening, sir. Thank you for being here. Yes, I'd like to find out from you. You mentioned that the Caribbean region has been designated by the AU in the sixth region of the African Union. Yeah, the group are okay, as the sixth region of Africa. Quite interesting. Now, I'd just like to ask you, sir. Last year, the CEAAC out of Nigeria hosted a conference here, and part of the reason that took place was on this topic of the Caribbean constituting the sixth region of the AU. Since then, although I've written to them in follow-up, I have not gotten any substantial feedback because the leader of the organization was always traveling. Is there any light that we can shed on this process evening?
Well, CBAC was an organization that was formed to be a continental organization after the Festival of Arts in 1977. However, it was more or less a Nigerian outfit. Because of that, the kind of traction that it should have, it never had it. That's number one. Number two, the director of CBAC, who was director up until late last year, Professor Bawji, he has now served his term and he has deleted office. I don't know who is the current director. Consequently, there has been a change of leadership. Third, with the political situation in Nigeria, so much has been happening or not happening, and consequently, even the president came here and made all kinds of promises, none of which materialized. So, with regard to CBAC, I think, you see, that was why when Dr. Mrs. Zuma came here, we had suggested that since we have 6 regions of Africa, and AU sets up centers of excellence in each region, we applied for Jamaica to be the location of the 6th center of excellence.
That's the HQ, the contact point, the point of contact.
Yes. We received through Professor Kawa, who is the deputy principal, we received communication that the logistics, that we need to work on the modalities. I don't know exactly how that is going, but I'm going to try and get back to Professor Kawa to ask what is being done. Now, if we are able to get that to work, that has an advantage of creating within Jamaica a kind of constituency which can then coordinate a lot of the things that we are talking about, or which we consider to be very precious to us.
The UNIA can help with that, Prof. Bawji, so I hope you remember us because I know the difficulty that the 6th region has been having to find where the black people are and to sort of register them so that they can participate. Remember, the African Union is talking about a Pan-African Parliament. They're talking about African passports, but how do we sort of register and track where our people are in the diaspora? That's what's been giving them a problem. And when you look at the issue they're having, you see quite clearly the brilliancy of Marcus Garvey founding something like the UNIA with divisions and chapters wherever black communities are. We would be the perfect vehicle, all other parts of history being considered. We were designed to be the vehicle to connect Africans to Africa. One more question, because it is getting late and Aisha Bell is to perform, so because she's going to be performing next, I can't deny her the final question.
Okay, my question goes a bit deeper than just the economics and the trappings that comes with it. Where does African spirituality fit into all that we're speaking about? What I've experienced is that we as a people, most of us were raised as Christians, and our home is in heaven waiting up there. When are we going to be one again with Mother Nature? When are we going to be one again with the very principle of African spirituality? There's a question raised about Africa being in shambles. One of the greatest things is we have lost who we are as a spiritual people, when that is at the core. Until we solve that problem, we'll all be going around in circles on every angle. So how does African spirituality, I don't say Christianity because I'm not into Christianity, I'm into the Almighty Creator, in me the Most High, and how do we bridge that? How do we reawaken that spirit in what we're doing?
Thank you very much. I was brought up within the Apostolic Church, and anybody familiar with that would know that it's one of the Pentecostal denominations. And in my early years, I discovered, or I found, that there were a number of things that were difficult for me to reconcile about humanity, about God, about nature, that you have within Christianity. And very early, I came to the realization also that the two religions that came from the Arabian desert are the worst things to ever happen to humanity. Because wherever they went, they took with them the fight over land. And that is a never-ending quarrel. I once told somebody that if Islam did not exist, it had to be invented. It must be invented, because you needed a counterbalance to the scourge of Christianity. Now, I'm just trying to lay the background so that you can get a proper picture of who I am. I still go to church. Okay? But that doesn't mean I don't understand the contradictions that surround me, whether within religion or outside. You see, what has kept black people globally surviving and going is African spirituality. Even though we don't teach it, it is there. Take a situation where, I tell people that it is very strange that black people, especially those of us who are fortunate to live in the tropics, we live our lives so carelessly, and we expect somebody who lives in the cold regions to come and subsidize our profligacy. It's madness. That is why you need to have IMF and World Bank and all that. But the spirituality of the Jamaican is what makes it such that a migrant Jamaican in Canada, living at -40, who has to tunnel out like a rabbit, when the snow cover your house, you dig out yourself from your yard, you dig out the wrong car, and then you find that your car was left, and then you still have to dig it out. yet they are still sending money home to maintain people who live in the tropics. It must be deep, and that is the spirituality. Because if it was white people, the moment you hit 18 or 21, you go out of home. That's the end of it. Now, how do we invest in that? The only way we invest in it is to go back to the family. And the family has been under serious assault. Why? Because little children are now having children. People in their 20s and 30s are now becoming grandmothers and grandfathers. It is absolutely irresponsible. So, I don't know. Unfortunately, we don't have what you can call leadership by example. Because the leaders themselves have no focus. Therefore, they cannot develop any form of spirituality or anything. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's just my thinking.
Final comment, Dr. Strong.
I would suggest to all of us that there's no such a thing as a perfect culture. There's no such a thing as that perfect community. So we have to shake off that in terms of searching to say, when we come to a group like this, we're going to find everything who's honest. We're going to find the good and the indifferent. We're going to find those who are here like spying, but that doesn't make us paranoid. We have to gain our trust in each other. We're done.
Well said, Dr. Strong. And I think Prof made a good point too, because it's something I've been trying to express a lot these days, that we can't talk about being revolutionary, we can't talk about being soldiers, we can't talk about black militancy if we don't understand that the family unit is the fundamental building block of the revolution. So I'm tired of black men telling me that they're soldiers but they're not take care of them people. That don't make sense. You understand? What is the revolution for if the black family has been destroyed? And we're at a certain point in age where we're being attacked on all sides. I mean, the whole definition of family is under attack right now. So we have to be wise about that. Final comment, my friend, because the prof is not taking any more questions. Is it a comment?
Yes. But the main reason why we are facing all these problems around the world and within ourselves is because we have stepped away from what has been given us from the Creator. So the main focus, if we get back to those guidelines, as the professor would say, he lives here within a certain guidelines. If we get back to those particular guidelines, as you were mentioned about the family, then the building blocks would build up by the house as a whole round the world, in my view.
Precisely. I think Garvey was tapping into that when he designed the divisions of the UNIA, the lady president, the male president, the juvenile division. When we invite people to mass meeting, we always make sure to say, bring the family. Because unfortunately, Prof didn't see it, but these are it's only at that Liberty Hall on the first Sunday you really come to an event where you see from baby to elder. And that is the true sense of the UNIA and the spirit of the UNIA over the years. We're very holistic in our approach to solving our issues as a race. It's not one generation that's going to do it, but it's a harmony between the elders, the youth who have the strength, and the babies who are the future to come. Has to be that balance. Anyway, we don't want it to get dark. We are running a little over time.